Hey, alright, welcome back. So we're going to try something a little different this week. Usually I do everything in post, but now I'm using SteelSeries GG software, which has sonar, which has a lot of things I would do in post that would just do it live as I record. Hopefully this saves me time and also gives me a little bit more consistency with my audio output for my vocal track. Let me know in the comments what you think, and this is not an ad because I will absolutely flush this program if everybody hates it. Alright, so we got the summer roadmap, and well, it's pretty good, right? So while we really can't confirm nor deny that this is going to save the game, I do think these are good signs that they're willing to make major changes. So I don't really want to talk about like glazing or dooming the game because again, the difference between a system saving a game and just destroying it can be as simple as where a decimal point is placed. So that's why it just doesn't matter until then. So coming up here, we have things like the Arc passive and trophy changes, Third Awakening, back on the past year and some change or whatever, and we see all these minor change balance patches. Now we can kind of understand why they were doing that. They were saving all the major changes, hopefully, for all these systems here, because they're assuming that the landscape of the classes are going to change a lot with all this stuff, so why change it early when we're going to have to change it again? Let's just give them something to tide people over a little bit. I do really think that these systems have a really great chance of just shaking up the meta quite a bit. That's kind of what I want to talk about. Transformation classes, for example, I think we can expect a lot of major changes. This is because in the past, they've always been kind of held down by being a 2-gem class, and you would see a lot of people posting on internet that the class doesn't deserve to be any better than what it is because it's a 2-gem class. Well, now that gems have a passive or just a raw stat boost, that means these classes do have to run all the gems. So while using 9 gem slots and skills that you don't really care, I don't think those stat boosts on the gems are going to be enough to really validate the class. And as of right now, as of their current design, they will not benefit from the tripod change. They will not benefit from limited tripod changes because they don't get access to tripods on their sync skills or their transformation skills. That might be something that changes in the future. Maybe they do get tripods on those skills. We just don't know the details, but it is pretty obvious that they're going to need some bigger fundamental changes to really keep up with the pack. But on the topic of tripods, classes like PM Gunslinger or Enhanced Weapon Deadeye, these are going to be classes that greatly benefit from the tripod changes because now they can put tripods on all their skills. So while I don't think that on its own is really going to save Gunslinger, I do think that it is going to be a big factor in their design moving forward with it. And I think Gunlancer being able to spacebar forward is a sign that they're willing to change fundamental things about classes moving forward as well with the Arc passive system. And also another thing we don't really know is how deep they're going to go into changing up engravings. Because they did say that they want to alter some of the other engravings, and I think going to a 6x3, what class can use how many different engravings is going to kind of change how well their damage output goes as well. Some classes are just allowed to use more engravings more efficiently, and so some feel like they might not benefit as much. I'm pretty sure they said that they want to, one, make other engravings a little different, so like some of the lesser used ones. And I swear I heard someone mention that they plan on changing kind of the math on how these things work, because there's some engravings people don't like to use together because they have diminishing return with one another. So that could also change quite a bit too. We just don't know, but it's pretty clear that they want to make change. And then another thing we don't really know about yet is how they're going to do stats. Are we going to be aiming for 1800 still? Are we going to be going for 2000? We're going to go for 2500. This could have a very big impact on the class and balance itself. So throughout the course of Tier 3, we can expect to see multiple meta shifts. Starting off with a level cap increase, which is going to take us time to get to. Another major thing is that the Arc passive is getting split up. So we're actually only getting the first 2 trees with the launch, or at least we should be. And then the third tree is going to be a month later in KR. We don't have a date for us yet. And that third page is all about the Third Awakening, which is coming along with it. So that is going to be another big change. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they did say that they want to release the intro fee changes alongside a Third Awakening. And I hope that's true. And I want to be clear, this isn't because I hate meta changes. It's just because that I don't really like it to the point where everything changes on a class so drastically so often. Glaivier players in Tier 3 are a good example of this, as they changed the class so many times that the Glaivier players had to switch their engravings or setup multiple times throughout the course of T3, and then by the time they actually gave them a bunch of damage by adding them to a trophy class, a lot of people just actually didn't like that playstyle. So to me, ultimately, it's less about meta and more about really defining the class to what it's supposed to play like, so people can really invest in something that they know they're going to like for sure. And another thing I should mention is that we're not going to really experience the full potential of the Arc passive even when we do have everything here at the start. Since the Arc passive system relies on having books, we're not going to be able to switch to it and have the full benefits of the books and not having all the points that we get from accessories, because I think we get points for accessories and bracelets that will allocate to the system. So we won't really know the classes until we actually max out the system as well. Because I really want to say this, even though they say that you can toggle between these systems, the reason why you have access to the old system is clearly because they want you just to have that power while you build up and transition to your arc passive. Overall, I think it's actually going to be really exciting seeing how things change. In the West here, we're actually only going to be 1 month behind KR, and hopefully we continue to stay 1 month behind KR. Obviously, yes, parity would be great, but let's be honest, that's just not going to happen. Very, very few games done it. The only game that I can think of that has actual parity, I think, is really PSO2 NGS, and that's because everything they release is just cosmetics. There's nothing to translate when it's just goon material. Oh god, just thinking about how they ruined the game with NGS. Oh, it makes me sad, guys. All right, let's get back on topic. But overall, I think we're going to have a good period of people really experimenting and relearning classes. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to really rediscover classes as they are now. It's just going to be an exciting period for us. Even if we are a month behind KR, the history has shown that the West has been able to still find out things that KR didn't really have on lock. Now, obviously, part of this comes into because, we have a little Bible data, which on that topic, I want to say shout outs to the community guides and the team, Sivo and the crew. I know from experience that editing Google Docs is just not really a fun experience, and they did a lot of work on tier 3 stuff. So it is going to be a lot of work for them if they're going to move over to tier 4. So feel free to glaze them. So I want to jump back to our own updates, our summer roadmap. And the thing is, we got something that I didn't expect to get. Now, it was something that I wanted us to get, however, and that is that we are getting progression boost and events before tier 4. This is going to allow early and mid-level players to start prepping a character for tier 4 to be a frontliner. And for the more experienced players, for the people who already have a roster, maybe they want to do a little shakeup. Maybe they want to have an extra character to do chaos for in tier 4. The only downside is, again, we just don't know what the classes are actually going to be like once we have every system in, but whatever. This is a game all about alts, so having a spare one isn't a horrible thing anyways. Ideally, I would actually love to see another progression event once they implement all the major changes. So I'm talking about Arc Passive Complete, Third Awakening, and then trophy changes. Once everybody has a firm grasp about all the classes and kind of what they're going to be like for the course of tier 4, that would be a great time to put in another set of progression events. So people can actually choose a class that they 100% know everything that they want to play about it. Which, on the topic of this pass, in creating characters and setting up your rosters for tier 4, if there has been any time, any moment in the timeline of LostArk to never pick for meta, this is the time. There is no reason to pick for meta because it's going to change. The best thing you can do right now is pick a class that you fundamentally enjoy the core of it, that even if it does change slightly, you're like, I still like it. Which, kind of minor spoiler for the next video, probably the next video unless something major comes up. So let me know in the comments what you think of the vocal track, if it sounds better or worse. But also, let me know if you guys plan to shake up your roster a little bit tier 4. What are you thinking about making? What is going to make you pick up a different class that maybe you're looking into? And you know how it goes. Like, sub, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.